Let's talk about the recent cybersecurity stock crash after the Anthropic announcement. Here's what happened. Anthropic released a new code variant of Claude that was able to identify 500 high-risk vulnerabilities in software that hadn't previously been discovered. Now, this was a very big and shocking announcement. Shortly thereafter, the stock markets responded, and a number of significant cybersecurity firms, well, their stocks tanked. In some cases, they dip double-digit figures on that day. Now, the big question becomes, is AI, like Anthropic's Claude system, going to replace cybersecurity vendors? And the answer is no, it is not. AI is simply a tool. And in this case, this tool was tasked to identify software vulnerabilities in code, and it did a fantastic job. But these cybersecurity service providers and commercial tools do a lot more than just vulnerability management. They have a whole suite of products and capabilities that are trusted. They are in close communication with their customers to understand their evolving needs. They develop, test, and maintain complex products that are adaptive and constantly incorporate new features and capabilities. And they understand the dynamic threats and risks that they face. And they take advantage of technology innovation, including AI. Vulnerability management is one small island in the world of cybersecurity. Again, these feature-rich vendors do a lot more than just vulnerability management. Now, AI has shown to be amazingly competent at vulnerability discovery, even at this early stage. It's gonna get better. Some of those 500 discovered vulnerabilities have been out there for quite a long time and nobody found them. This is a wake-up call, but again, this is only one small piece of a larger world. In fact, even just within the scope of vulnerability management, there are many different phases. First, you have to detect the vulnerabilities, and then, if you're the attacker, you have to develop an exploit to take advantage of them. If you're the defender, you have to develop and test a patch to block them. Then comes the deployment phase. If you're the attacker, you have to deploy your exploit, and if you're the defender, you have to deploy your patch. Then you have to manage it to make sure that the patches are actually deployed sufficiently, working as expected, and figuring out the corner cases of who's not getting it. The same thing goes on with the attackers once it's been deployed to a number of victims. They have to manage it, figure out if it's working or not, if it's being detected, contained, or evicted, and how to get around all of that. There are many aspects that encompasses detection and exploitation of vulnerabilities, and AI is showing that it can do it very well in this first area of vulnerability detection. Attackers are starting to use AI to automatically generate exploits and orchestrate attacks, but it's still early. So we are going to see an increase in scope and effectiveness. We expect AI to play an equally important role in helping defenders deploy and validate patches as well. So what does this all mean overall? Well, it does signal a change of pace and potentially the end of customer lock-ins for some of these big vendors. Everybody is going to use these kinds of AI tools, the developers, the attackers, and the defenders. AI will allow software developers to spot and resolve more vulnerabilities in their software before it gets released. And it will help attackers find and exploit the vulnerabilities that do find their way into the wild much faster. Both sides are going to be able to use this technology. It's not replacing these big security vendors, as they will incorporate these tools, just as the attackers are, to improve their capabilities for the benefit of their customers. At the end of the day, the speed of security, especially around vulnerability management and exploitation, gets faster, and the time gets compressed for all the policies and processes and security which will need to adapt faster. There will be a secondary effect as well. The power of these tools becomes an equalizer among developers, allowing up and coming innovators to use these various AI capabilities to mimic or be just as good as some of the big security vendors at certain aspects. And that will allow customers that have essentially been locked into these big providers to be able to get away from the monolithic, all encompassing security product suites and potentially move to other competing vendors in a much easier way. The transition should be smoother. There should be less disruption. The quality of service should remain high, and that can shake up the market. It will help the very best innovators and companies rise to the top and gain market share from the large companies who right now have locked in customers. The market will be better positioned to choose the best providers. This is healthy for the industry as it will help accelerate advancement, maturity, and adaptability of security tools that survive all of this disruption.